Let's rewind the clock a little bit for anybody listening, doesn't know, where you come from, what your story is. Let's say 11-year-old David Nurse. Set the scene. Where'd you grow up?
11-year-old David Nurse. I mean, just a stud, just a macho stud. No. Grew up small town, Iowa, Pella, Iowa. All I wanted to do was play in the NBA, so every waking hour was committed to basketball in the snow, outside in the driveway, you name it. Basketball. Like to this day, still think I could play in the NBA. So that's how committed I was. Yeah. Played college basketball, so kind of grinded my way there. Doctor said I was going to be 6'6", 6'7". I'm 6'1". Hope he's fired somewhere. Could file a lawsuit against it.
Give you false hope when
Unbelievable,
you're a kid,
man. I would have played a different sport had I known that.
Yeah, I used to pray that God would make me like 6'7".
Yeah.
6'8" when I was, because I played a ton of basketball growing up.
Travis, I prayed.
Like, 6'7", please, God.
I stretched
at
my.
Least.
I literally did like that hanging stuff to try to stretch yourself out to grow.
Like the head weight.
Every possible way you can imagine. So we didn't get there. Played college basketball, Western Illinois, and got the opportunity to play overseas. And that sounds cool to say you play overseas, but it's more like the Will Ferrell semi-pro that I was playing in. And
Did you ever watch? Did you ever see the show New Girl?
No, I know what you're talking about, but I didn't see it.
Yeah, there was a guy in there that played overseas, and there's a whole bit in there about it, but we'll have to like link to it in the show notes or something, because if I explained it, it would not be near as funny, and it would just fall on deaf ears.
Of how unglamorous it is.
Correct.
Yeah.
I was the ninth guy off the bench for the 8th best team in Latvia. Winning the best, winning the best, winning the best. Thanks for coming to watch me play, guys.
Well, we didn't watch you play. We watched you sit, which was still fun. Any chance to get to Latvia, right, guys?
Yeah, I haven't played all year. They barely let me practice, but, like I always say, all about them lots.
So I was in Australia, and then Greece, and then Spain for my third year. And mind you, I still think I'm going to play in the NBA. I'm the guy over here doing 2-a-days, film study, and the rest of my teammates are just concerned about drinking beers at halftime and where the party is going to be at after the game.
Sure.
They've got other jobs, but I'm that committed. Just kind of been in my blood through wanting to play in the NBA.
Did they pay you enough, like a living wage to?
Oh, not even close.
Okay.
I think I was like 500 every 2 weeks, maybe like 1,000 a month.
It's like playing in the minor leagues in like baseball. Out here,
Yeah, probably. I was probably spending more money buying baguettes and tapas over in Spain. And I was in northern Spain, it's not even Spain. It's the Basque region. They don't even speak Spanish. It's like when you think Spain, you're like, oh yeah, sunshine beaches. No, cold, rainy mountains like Seattle.
This isn't Ibiza, yeah.
Yeah, no.
Ibiza.
Ibiza. That's when you know you're Spanish. Barcelona. So I get cut from the team. Like this joke of a league, I get cut from the team. And I thought like all my hopes and goals and dreams were gone. I mean, looking back on it, it's an unbelievable blessing that I got cut at 24, 25 instead of continuing to play for $100 a month and end up in Lithuania when I'm 36 and have nothing going for me.
Right.
But I come home, I'm living on my parents' recliner chair in Kansas City where they're living at the time, and just literally feeling bad for myself. Like I thought everything was gone. It's what I put my whole life into. I didn't have a backup plan.
Right.
Nobody told me in college, like, hey, like maybe you should think about something other than the NBA because you're probably not going to make it.
What did you study in college?
Communications.
So basketball.
Yeah, pretty much. Business. I got my MBA actually, which
no way.
Yeah, but I mean, sorry, Western Illinois, if anybody's listening to this from Western Illinois, but it's not quite Harvard Business School. I can't tell you one thing I learned in business school, but I got the paper somewhere. Never used it in my life. So my mom, this is the big turning point for me, was my mom would always say these motivational and inspirational quotes. You know how moms are, and it's always like, Mom, whatever, I'm not going to pay attention to that. It's, whatever you say is in one ear, out the other ear.
Yeah.
But she said,
you don't understand.
Yeah. Right. You still don't understand. Parents don't know.
Right.
Yeah. Even though they do know, and it always comes back, you're like, oh, wow, you did know. But she said this one that stuck with me when she was doing dishes. I was kicked back in the chair. I can remember exactly where I was at. She said, David, when one door closes, 4 open in an entire beachfront patio overlooking the ocean. I was like, time out. I thought it was one door. What's this 4-door thing? But it kind of opened me up to this new mindset of like, oh, well, maybe it's not over. Maybe I don't have to wait for the door to open. Maybe there's other opportunities that I can use through what I learned, through what I poured my life into through basketball. It's like, all right, I'm going to coach in the NBA. And that's when I made the decision right then and there that I was going to be an NBA coach. Now, didn't have any connections in the NBA, which you kind of need. So I hand wrote a letter to every NBA GM. All the GMs, didn't hear anything back for a month and a half. then I get a phone call from the GM at the time of the Los Angeles Clippers, Gary Sachs. And it's just a quick conversation, and he was just being kind, getting back to me. And it's basically like, good luck with the rest of your life. He said, if you're ever out in Los Angeles, look me up, we'll grab coffee. So I booked a ticket to Los Angeles the next week and took that as an opportunity, stole some of my parents' money, stole all of my money. I was going to be out there doing a basketball camp.
Funny you should mention. I'll be out there.
Ironic.
On whatever day works best for you.
Haven't been to LA in like 8 years, but I'll be there next week.
Right.
So I prepared, and I went out there, and we hit it off, and that eventually led to me and Gary developing a great relationship. I actually lived with Gary when I moved out to Los Angeles.
Oh, no way.
Every connection stemmed from Gary Sachs to the NBA, to Eric Spoelstra, different coaches. And
what year was this when you moved out or when you came out?
Well, when I came out to move in with Gary, it was a little bit later. It was actually after I coached with the Nets. So I basically lived for 5 years out of my car or sleeping on friends' couches. Sometimes friends like I literally had never met before. Like I've got crazy stories on probably potential times I should have been dead on random strangers' couches, but I still slept in it. Or I slept in my my car in well-lit Walmart parking lots was my go-to. 5 years of doing basketball camps that I created with these shooting basketball with a line down the center so you could see the rotation. And I'd do camps for anybody and their cousin that would take me in. Melbourne, Australia, I wake up to an email that says Brooklyn Nets shooting coach. Thought it was spam. Didn't know anybody from the Brooklyn Nets. Was curious. Clicked it. The next week, I'm a shooting coach for the Brooklyn Nets.
Wow.
But maybe we can go into like how they thought that was it. Thought I was in.
Yeah.
Fired.
Really?
After 1 year in.
1 year.
Fired. Then I moved out to with Gary.
Got it.
Got
it. So what year was that then? Because you said the Brooklyn Nets. So
2015, 16.
Okay. Gotcha.
Yeah. And I set the foundation for what the Nets are. I don't know if I want to say that because they're not really doing that well.
Yeah. That's true. At this point.
Yeah.
But I mean, that's not really your fault.
Yeah. Can't blame it on the shooting coach. Come on.